Hi guys, my name is Alex Yu, and I graduated from the Stanford ID Fellowship Program in 2018. I'm currently working at the California Department of Public Health as a public health medical officer in the infectious diseases branch. As a state medical officer, I'm responsible for outbreak investigation and surveillance for a wide variety of different infections. These include enteric pathogens, waterborne diseases, parasitics, as well as infectious agents with bioterrorist or pandemic potential, such as botulism and Ebola. I also work on a wide range of fascinating projects of public health importance, such as exploring the relationship between climate change and fungal infections, or researching spatial risk factors for legionellosis, or trying to use whole genome sequencing to make sense of antimicrobial resistance patterns or outbreak clusters. Currently, I'm involved in the COVID response as well, and have led or assisted wide-ranging projects from interpreting the evidence for policy writing to investigating nursing home outbreaks and improving infection control measures. I also continue to work as an ID attending on the inpatient service at one of our county hospitals. That's where I am now, and I'm trying to paint the picture that I have a wide range of different responsibilities that are both very detailed and very focused on very specific pathogens, but also rely on kind of a broader swath of research skills as well as clinical training. And I'm going to try and convince you that it's the training at Stanford that prepared me to be able to take on all these very different responsibilities. When I started fellowship, I didn't have the plan that I would go into public health and didn't anticipate I would be doing any of the things I currently do. However, by building a really dynamic, supportive, and innovative research program on top of a strong clinical core, Stanford set me up for success, and I think that would have translated to any career I could have chosen as a physician scientist. So let me tell you more about my research experiences at Stanford and what I think are some of the unique aspects and strengths of the program. When I started my fellowship back in 2015, I'd only had a handful of brief research experiences under my belt. I knew I was interested in research. I knew I was interested in global health. And I had this idea that I wanted to study the intersection between infectious diseases and climate change, which is a non-traditional topic in medicine. Right away, I thought Stanford was a unique fit for me. A small, tight-knit ID division able to give me very personal mentorship, but also one that was embedded in this larger Stanford University campus. What that means is that researchers can draw not only from the School of Medicine or from health sciences expertise, but from all of the wider university resources, undergraduate and graduate, and from all those different perspectives. On the practical level, that means that this provides a true interdisciplinary and collaborative approach to science and research. My mentor, for instance, Steve Luby, is a medical doctor by training and holds an appointment in the ID division, but also holds an appointment at the Friedman Spogli Institute for International Studies and the Stanford Woods Institute for the Environment, which is where his office actually is. I think this can be really important, and I'll try to describe my research experience with Steve as an example. Under Steve's mentorship, I've researched the health impacts of air pollution created by the brick manufacturing industry in Bangladesh. With my medical background, this research would have focused only on health outcomes. However, being able to incorporate expertise from different fields really strengthened that research and changed it to allow for making a more immediate and more substantive step towards something I could actually influence and more immediately influence change. Collaboration with environmental engineers, for instance, helped us figure out how do you actually measure particulate matter in the atmosphere, and how do you understand the highly complex nature of wind patterns and plume effects. Meanwhile, my partner on the project brought an economist's perspective, and that helped us to really understand why bricks are manufactured the way they are, and to help understand who the different stakeholders were and what research and what incentives could help them to change and to adopt cleaner brick manufacturing technologies. A policy student helped us to understand the political pressure points that are involved. And working with Stanford students that use machine learning algorithms helped us to pilot ways to actually count and to identify the brick kilns and brick manufacturing plants using satellite imagery. All of that meant we were able to understand the problem much more fully and to create a vision and a plan for sector transformation, not just for health research papers. Having that more complete plan also meant that we were much more competitive and much more compelling when it came to obtaining grant funding. I'm happy to report that we were able to secure several grants to sustain the work. While your research may not need such an interdisciplinary environment, there are other benefits to being a part of such a larger Stanford community. There are world-class talks from thought leaders, not only from across academia and from different fields, but also from Silicon Valley, from industry, and from government. Hearing these perspectives can help bring new innovations to your own work or change the way you approach a problem. You have access to undergraduate courses, where I took spatial analysis classes, for instance, as well as to the graduate, the medical, or the PhD courses, as well as to intensive research crash courses that are designed specifically for busy researchers and postdocs. I can't emphasize enough how helpful all this can be. University has a lot of dedicated resources for its greater PhD and postdoc community. And that means that there are entire support systems and courses that are set up to help you with learning how to write grants and to review them for you, and to also help you with job searches, including resume reviews and interview workshops. I think another really important strength and something to consider is the access to the broader university-wide grant systems. Separate from my work in Bangladesh, I worked under Jason Andrews' mentorship to understand the burden of Salmonella typhi infection in Nepal. Through that work, I became interested in developing environmental surveillance methods to detect typhi in water. Through a grant from Stanford's Center for Innovation in Global Health, I was able to fund this work. And that work served as a critical seed for the research that would have formed the basis of a larger NIH-K grant. Now that work helps me in thinking about environmental surveillance as a tool for COVID detection. The research portion of whichever fellowship program you choose is critical. The skills you learn, the perspectives you hear, the products you create, the papers you write, the networks you form are all the foundation for your future career as a physician scientist. I believe that the Stanford ID Fellowship provides a thoughtful and well-resourced training environment that really helps trainees be successful and to thrive. For me, training at Stanford and learning under Steve, Jason, Brian, and the rest of the incredible ID faculty, researchers, and co-trainees has been a privilege, and one that I believe really has well prepared me for my career. I do hope that you'll consider closely whether Stanford could do the same for you. Best of luck to you, no matter where and what you choose. And thanks for listening.